Rochelle Walensky was asked just a little bit ago, the director of the CDC, hey, when are you guys going to adjust your guidance and tell people they don't have to wear these worthless masks that do nothing to prevent the spread of COVID? She wasn't actually asked that. That's me telling you that masks are worthless.
That's what she should have been asked. That's the question that should have been posed.
If there was actually a legitimate media looking at the real data, that's the question she should have been asked. But she was asked when the mask mandate is going to be gone. This is what she said.
We are assessing the most important factors based on where we are in the pandemic, and will soon put guidance in place that is relevant and encourages prevention measures when they are most needed to protect public health and our hospitals. We want to give people a break from things like mask wearing when these metrics are better, and then have the ability to reach for them again should things worsen.
What have I been saying?
If and when we update our guidance,
yeah, she can shut up. We've had enough of her. We've had enough. What have I been saying, Clay? Every day. I'm losing my... I keep telling everybody, they are not done. If you think that... And for people to say, oh, it's not my problem. You ever want to ride a plane again? You ever want to go into a government building again? They are not done. This whole game they're playing is, yeah, we're just following the science. So we're happy to give you a break for a little bit before we bring all this crap back next winter, even though it doesn't work. They are saying this is a pause. They are not saying we'll never do this again until we finally get to the point where they will admit that they failed on everything, they annoyed the crap out of us for no reason, and they're never going to do this again. I'm not done. I'm not done, Clay.
I get it. I think Joe Biden's going to announce an end to the mask mandate on March 1st in a State of the Union. That's my prediction, that Joe Biden is that they're waiting, because if you look at the data right now, Buck, it's coming down precipitously. There doesn't, I feel like I need to knock on wood when I say it, there doesn't appear to be a variant that is spreading rapidly anywhere around the country right now. And remember, they surprised a lot of people last May when they came out and removed the mask mandate then. And then they almost immediately had to walk it back while it was still summer. I think March 1st, Joe Biden wants to do away with it. And look, the reality is by March 1st, almost every state is going to have done away with the mask mandates. I really do think. Now, unfortunately, they're doing it backwards, right? So kids are still going to be in masks. Like the first people who should be out of masks.
So I mean, there is no federal mask mandate.
Right.
So are you saying that he'll get rid of it on planes? Because I
think the CDC he will have, and I'm proud to. This is my prediction, and I'm proud to announce that the CDC is now saying that they are no longer recommending a mask. Right? That's what they did in May when you saw like the Walmarts and everybody else. But it's going to be so far behind where everybody is.
The bright red line is planes. Okay, if it's still on planes. It's the mask thing is not over, and it's just a question of when they're going to bring all the crap back, and they're going to be masking up your kids in New York and California again. If he says no more on planes, then I would say, oh, interesting. They really have been getting some rough polls. Well, it would give you a
sign that the polling was truly awful if he took it off on airplanes, right? And look, people could still wear them on airplanes. I take it as a good sign, Buck, that Southwest Airlines has announced that they're going to start serving alcohol again.
Fauci has been asked about
planes specifically.
First of all, the booze on planes and all the fighting and all the things that have been going on, it's because they're constricting your ability to breathe normally in a very uncomfortable and high-stress environment where the rules are shut up and obey already, okay? That's why there are fights. It's not you don't need to be a clinical psychologist to figure that out. And here's Fauci, though, being asked about the plane masking issue.
I don't want to get ahead of the decision-making process because a lot of it is going to depend on what I mentioned just a moment ago, namely the trajectory of that downward dynamic. Because if things start plateauing and going up, which I don't think they will, I hope they won't, but we want to make sure that when we make a decision, it's based on the science as we see it at that time, and it continues to change. Fortunately for us, it's going in the right direction right now. And I think when the time comes for any kind of a policy decision to be made, it will be based on the data as it is. So why don't we just hold off before we make any predictions about that?
Isn't it fascinating to hear Fauci say, let's not get ahead of ourselves, let's wait for the numbers, when in reality, this is the guy, how many times did you hear him say, Clay, the last 2 years, I am horrified at the prospect of mass death and anarchy from the virus going, the surge is coming over there. Sometimes wrong, usually wrong. Maybe once in a while he got it right because, you can't be wrong all the time when you're making predictions. But now he doesn't want to give us any. Why can't he tell us what the metrics are, what the numbers are? At this level, we will stop. Clay, they are obsessed with being able to control everybody. They're addicted to this.
Well, and remember, it was only like 6 weeks ago that Joe Biden said if you weren't vaccinated, you were going to have an awful winter of death. Remember that statement that came out from the White House? And there were a bunch of experts who said January and February, the hospitals are going to get overrun again. And fortunately, that didn't end up happening with Omicron, although the death numbers, Buck, got really close to the all-time highs that were set on. Now, I think a lot of that is just death with Omicron, right, which has been the case for a long time. People are not dying of COVID as much as they are dying with COVID, and you've got so many people who were unhealthy and elderly, and they have 3 or 4 or 5 different comorbidities, and one of them is COVID. But I do think that the desperation of the Biden administration is going to lead to, first of all, the CDC removing the mask mandate is big because a lot of school districts right now are saying the reason we have to put kids in masks is because the CDC still recommends it. And I think Biden will take that away on March 1st. I think that's going to be the State of the Union.